Welcome back to my Speed Champions garage building series. This is where I left things off from last episode, but since then, I've accumulated some more pieces to continue work, which includes pieces to cap off my towers. This is how my display racks will look from this point forward. In episode 1, I was trying to determine a layout for all 30 of these Gen 2 Speed Champ cars, and this is the result. So what I'm going for here is an industrial styled warehouse. So it's not going to be enclosed by walls, but instead it'll have these pillar supports and it will have a roof on the top. I won't get to that in this video, but I will be able to finish the groundwork and start building upward. To keep me going with this MOC, here are some parts that I've acquired from lego.com and the in-store pick-a-brick wall. The first thing I'm going to do is remove all of the cars and display racks. It'll be easier to work with it that way. If you built these display racks for your own car collection, always take off your cars before moving these racks around, and never pick up from the middle. Always handle it from the outer pillars. The cars are all out, and this is what we're left with. There's still a lot of studs showing, so let's get those covered up. I've got most of my groundwork tiled over. I intentionally left these rectangular areas open, so I've got an easy starting point for my brick separator in case I want to change up any tiling work. In fact, I will be using that brick separator because I thought it was a little bit too monotonous with all white, too much white, so I changed things up over here by adding splashes of light gray to represent deterioration in the floor paint. So I figured I would do the same over there. And also I want to add more studded connections for minifigures. There we go. Now before I add a bunch of details on the interior for our minifigures to interact with, which, by the way, I do have some ideas off to the side here to get me started. Before I do that though, I'm going to continue with the border, finishing with my walls / fences and tiling work, which I've already started over here. I've also got a little bit of space to work with to add some details in there, though they won't really be visible after I put all the cars in. These are some of the details that I've come up with to go onto the back wall. Starting on the left, I've got a breaker box, an electrical warning sign. The red lever is an emergency shutoff. The piping is like a metal conduit for electrical wires to go through. There I've got an air hose, and then over here I've got a fire extinguisher, some plumbing, and a little tap, which I used one of those gray flower elements from a Halloween VIP add-on pack. The back wall is starting to come together. I've also added trash cans by each door. Now let me get this build turned around so I can work on the exterior of the back wall. Though I like using these grading elements as chain-linked fence, I thought that it was a little bit too plain as is, so to give it more interest, I've added some white tiles. It also helps cover up some of those studs. I think the back looks good now. I even gave this side the same treatment. The next thing I'm going to do is work on the front wall. Well, it's not really a wall, it's a fence line. But the time-consuming part will be figuring out how to make these corrugated steel panels into sliding doors. So that's where the cars are going to be entering and exiting out of the garage. Well, I've got my door mechanism in place, at least for one side of the door. This is the fully closed position, and here it is when it's fully open. Closed, open. So we'll get that installed on the other side and then test drive our car through the door. I'm using these 1x2 grill elements for the track of the sliding door because it's smooth enough for the door to slide on those pieces, but also it looks like a more realistic track. Let's test the functionality of these doors. Yes, the car still fits through. Here's a look at the reverse side, which is actually the front side of the garage. So that's how it looks. As you can see, that these modified 1x1 bricks with the bar element, that's what is making it stop in the fully opened position by hitting this beam. And now for a car that is wider than the Skyline. This car is more than 9 studs wide and fits through there just fine. How about the massive Ford Bronco? Yeah, those wheels barely clear it, but it does fit. There you have it. These doors work for all Gen 2 Speed Champ cars. I'm really happy with how the doors turned out, both appearance and function. There was one setback though that I've encountered. So the display racks that go into this spot right here, they're going to interfere with these. So what I'm going to have to do is push it back by one stud. So my display racks, my tower of cars, will land right into the pedestrian walkway by one stud. So what I'm going to do is shorten the width of the pedestrian walkway through here from 4 studs to 3. That should do it. Now I'm ready to add some more interior details. I've been spending a lot of time designing a custom lift. So a fully functional lift for the Gen 2 cars. And though it takes up a lot of space in the garage, I think it would be really cool to have this. So I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to add some plates to replace some of the tiles with plates so I can anchor it down. Are y'all ready for this? So you were ready for that. Well, were you ready for this? Pretty cool, huh? This is not going to work for every car. It depends on their size. But let's try out some different cars from the 2023 lineup. Yeah, that looks good. Well, the car to lift is established, so let's move on to something else. Look who's here to help out Dom and Brian. It's the green brick. Yeah, I'm on a forklift. Come on, you knew I'd make an appearance in this video, right? It's a mock build. So this is part of a Speed Champions playset that I built not too long ago. And I figured I could use some of these elements like the drill press, the vice grip, even this whole workbench. It would be great to add. I've got some tools, a tool cart, probably add more tools than that, an engine lift, an oil drum, most likely octane, a cutting torch and a welding machine. I'll add some spare wheels and tires, and then some decorative elements like hubcaps, street signs that I'll make with these stickers, just to give it a garage feel. Well, it's feeling more like a garage. I've got most everything held into place by jumper plates. I've got that workbench put in. I've got this wall of signs and hubcaps. Then over here, I've made some custom walls as well. I like this one, how you can just spin one tire, they all spin. But got signage, sponsors hanging on the wall. I've got the welding machine, cutting torch here, the engine lift, and here, let me remove this from the jumpers. So, got a whole wall full of tools, jam-packed.
You can't find the right tool in this garage, Mr. Arizona, you don't belong near a car.
Got some trophies as well. This is a Speed Champions garage, so I thought it was fitting to add some trophies. And if you know how I hung up that welding hood, let me know in the comments. The next thing I'm going to do is bring all of the cars back into the garage. All 30 cars are back in once again. Nice and snug. Now let's see what I can do with these pillars and plates on building up the perimeter. Well, that's as far as I'm going to get in this video. I still would like to add a bridge crane at about this height and then a roof to cap it off. But I don't know, am I asking for too much? Will this structure hold all of that weight on top? And how am I going to easily access my cars with all of this in the way, all the way around the garage? So those are questions that I do not know the answers for, but I'll leave those problems for the next video.